kick things off, we're just making sure everyone's on the battle bus. So why don't we get a few of the players, or people rather, up to speed on who the players will be seeing in the lobby today. Let's bring up this lobby. Let's just call out a couple duos we'll be seeing here for you. Kelly, why don't you start us off? Who are you looking to see today?
Thanks for throwing me under the battle bus. My goodness, we got Dolzer and Isho. You know, that was one of the teams that we were talking about at the start of the show, landing in Dark Dominion, of course. And honestly, as far as notability goes in North American Central, they're lesser known as a duo. But when you look at their performances in the recent chapter, I think, Vivid, this might be one of the duos that we're going to be talking about for quite a while.
We're going to talk about somebody that we have talked about for quite some time and kind of made his name at a LAN event, right? Bugha teamed up with Craze right now, which kind of is going to segue me into the next conversation that I do want to kind of bring up. And it's kind of like the importance of Major #1 and this heat, right? Because this heat gets you into the grand finals, right? We know how all of this works. You win one of the 5 games today, you go to grand finals, you get top 10 on the consistency leaderboard, you go to those grand finals. These grand finals feel just a little bit special because this is like this early major 1, but it still leads into a LAN event. So for everybody kind of competing here today, I mean, yeah, some people are trying to make it to their first grand finals. A lot of people are thinking about the bigger picture and extra LAN event this year. So we know what it has done in the past to some of our players like Bugha, making those big names for themselves. That's why those type of events are so important. So extra stakes on the line, and I think that just makes it so much more exciting, right? That's why everybody's kind of geared up and ready to jump into the competition.
Yeah, there is definitely like a little bit of a different tone to this one, right? It's like, I feel like in previous years we come in and it's like, all right, you know, Major 1, it's like, hey, we are taking it seriously, but we're kind of just feeling it out. Like, we're going to see how we do. We're going to try, but like, you know, we still have a couple more majors. Like, hold on a minute, Zeke. We got a Summit LAN happening now. That changes things quite a bit for us. Another duo we kind of highlighted at the beginning of the show earlier was actually Yamzo and Josh. Excited to see them perform. What do you think, Kelly? Any cool things you can tell the viewers if they're just tuning in?
I mean, for me, the storyline between Josh and Yamzo, one, we're talking about how a lot of these veteran players, in this instance, we're talking about Yamzo, joins up with kind of a newer player. In this instance, we're talking about Josh having, you know, 17 FNCS performances or finals compared to just a handful of them. You kind of have this disparity of, well, if Yamzo is going to be bringing, is he going to have to carry Josh? But then when you look at what they are bringing to the table, as far as who is the IGL, who is the fragger, they honestly are complementing each other so well. And I talked about at the start of the show, there was a little bit of concern as far as their POI goes for Josh and Yamzo, but it seems that they got Frigid Fortress. They're pretty confident there now, and I think that they're going to have an incredible performance in the grand finals. That's right, it's a Kelly Link guarantee, everyone. Josh and Yamzo, regardless of if it's a victory royale or through consistency, I think they're making it into the grand finals.
I don't know if we can be tossing about guarantees.
Yeah, those guarantees have gotten some people in trouble as of late. Obviously, this lobby list shows off 25 of our teams. Let's see if we can take a look at the other 25 that are going to be filling out this lobby for heat #3. And you know, this page is where we got some of those big hitters, that drama that we talked about earlier, right? We got Clicks and Higgs over on that right side of your screen. Peterbot and Pollo. Very, very excited to kind of jump back into the action. Obviously, you know, games #1 and 2, they got avoided. I feel like the Peterbot fans were a little bit scared after watching that one go down early in that game. But, you know, of course, a blessing in disguise for them as we are going to be restarting that game. 5 games left to go for us. 5 games left for Peterbot to go ahead and revamp himself as the best player in the world. A lot of talk in the offseason about being a little distracted, playing other games and all of this, but I can't lie. In sort of like cold fashion, it looks like he's kind of revamped, back on the game, playing every single day, and they look very, very good right now.
I will say, Zeke, that when you talk about Peterbot, obviously you have to talk about Pollo. And since we're kind of in this, you know, nebulous state right now where we're just kind of waiting for the game to start, I love the dialogue that we've seen throughout the last few weeks, months, where Peterbot, he wants someone to IGL for him. Peterbot wants to be able to just be unleashed, go onto the lobby and be able to eliminate everyone. And with Pollo, there's been a big question mark on if he's going to be able to do that. And we've talked about how Pollo is able to kind of complement Peterbot in the sense of he is just kind of staying right next to him. He's able to kind of just like follow him along. But Is he going to be able to IGL? And I think Pollo has made incredible strides and growth as far as that goes, or Zeke.
Okay, I like it. Well, you know what? I'm getting word. Games are ready. Again, sincerely apologize for the delay, but it's all good. We got Fortnite, and it starts right now. Casters, over to you.
Down in game number 1, Monster, and this is where it really is going to start to get interesting, because even with a couple of mishaps, one of the biggest things that I really look at for players is how does the mental game go? How does it all get held together when things don't necessarily go your way? We saw Peterbot and Pollo go down early, very uncharacteristic like in that game number 1. Now they get a fresh start, another chance at it here, and let's see if they can continue in the stride coming up into this event.
Yeah, there's no deja vu here, guys. We're getting right into the action. We're trying to pick up the pace here. Peterbot, Pollo obviously have somewhat of a blessing in disguise, a second chance, if you will, at this first opportunity here to push through a qual spot. You know what? You gotta appreciate the fact that they actually got to feel out the lobby, right? And the competition was serious. So let's give another nod to Logan Bot, who's putting in work out there. Let's see if he can continue to do just that here. The dynamics are going to shift for many inside the lobby, though, right? Like, obviously, now everyone's kind of gotten to get the jitters out the way. Little adrenaline gets to kick in now, right, as the days kind of edged on. And you have to imagine that even Boog and Craze here, right? They're fired up right now.
Yeah. Kind of been in a similar situation before. You got to wonder, Booga and Craze, you know, they get uncontested. They have a lot of time to theory craft these games as the zone continue to reveal itself rather early, so they know they have a ton of time here in the early game to loot up the south side of Battlewood before they actually have to start making a move elsewhere. And you see Void in the distance, Yemity in the distance as well. And this is where you got to start to be careful, because even 1, 2, the small amount of damage when it comes to Storm Surge plays an impact later on in the game.
Let's see if that ends up playing out for this team as well. Oliver OG, Carillion playing that northern side. We know that, again, you're relatively contested. Last time, though, you said it, though, right? You saw Smacked and that other team just kind of move off to the side. So I am curious if folks are going to play something a little different here. But jumping in with Tyler and Chance. What is happening here? A little lurk play potentially being lined up right now. Oh, they know these enemies are close by. There's some leftover loot here, and they needed that. This almost seems like they might have been playing off a reboot. What do you think?
Yeah, just probably just one of those split contested drops to where, you know, you don't actually fight it out of the gate, so you're just kind of taking the scraps on the outside of the POIs. Last time we saw Tyler Chance take aggression to this occasion very, very quickly. They're able to take him down, but just a whole different approach. 90 players still up, and this is just following the trend of the entire weekend so far. Something you know, the history of Fortnite, the game number 1, the early portions of a tournament tend to be slower than the rest. They like to feel each other out, see what they can get away with, and then go from there.
So today being a much different day out of the usual tournament vibe, right? So I think everyone here is probably on their toes, and if anything, that caution's going to come from the fact that, hey, I may have blown it, right, in that first chance. So this is again a new opportunity. I am curious to see how this is going to play out. Some even have almost played their strategy early on, right? A lot of time between where we started and where we are today. A little bit of studying happening between those blocks there, but for Yamzo, Josh, the team that everyone, of course, has high hopes for. This is a draw spot that has been highly contested in Heat 1 and Heat 2. They seem to have a lot more respect demanded here in the lobby, and I mean, from what I can tell from the loadout, it seems like no one's really giving them too much pressure right now.
Yeah, just kind of looting up. You talked about them being uncontested. They can't max out their metal at the actual POI itself, so they go to this little building here where they can kind of get the rest of the material that they need. You know, metal, probably the most precious of all the building materials in this game, so you got to make sure you have it ready to go. And they got the zone early on, so again, another team that has a lot of time on their side. Let's jump on board. Perkin and Stone, you see they're kind of in a stalemated situation against Paper and Rezi, and with 90 players still up, these little fights right here, even though you got 2 teams ready to kind of fight it out in this situation, you see how many other teams are in the minimap. You hear the noise, you start to look on over, and when you're in an active build fight, that's easy surge.
Yes, great tags right now as well from Perkian. That's the most important part, is actually landing those tags. We've seen a lot of people have opportunities to, of course, spoil them. For Aviv, Kinglin right now on the move here. This is what I would say a surprise duo for me. I didn't expect to see Aviv pairing up with someone like Kingaling. This one caught me a bit off guard, but hey, another one of those conversations where, you know, King's just continued to kind of earn his way through the top tier player, you know, the veteran roster line. And it seems like he's at least showing out right now for Aviv. He's someone who's also been given plenty of chance in the past, right? Most notably, I'd say, when we've seen him with Skittles back in the day, with Booga for quite some time. So he's definitely earned his respect on the region.
Yeah, and he knows what it's like to play at the Global Championship as well. Let's jump on over to Jack and Npen. We saw Josh Niamzo that actually take the Frigid Fortress. Jack and Npen, they take a little bit towards the west, a split drop that they call their own. And you can see they're getting a good amount of loot from the split drop. They got the Chug, they got the Slapperoni Pizza, a gold AR. So they're definitely set up, ready to go. The biggest thing is going to be their Surge. With the zone pulling towards the south, they have two decisions to make. Do we focus on our rotation or focus on getting all the Surge on the teams towards the north? And right now, it looks like they're going to prioritize the rotation first.
Time to rotate for Zifno. Slam right now. Just playing this bit of high ground here, trying to look for some early tags. They're finding themselves well above the surge damage threshold here. Is that starting to turn on? There's going to be a lot of players that are going to have to worry about this one. 91 standing right now. This is relatively congested lobby here. Noah W Play still alive in the distance there. You saw V faced up. Meanwhile, Peterbot Boyo also alive now, right? Much different situation than the last time. Nemesis of Logan Bot and Mike to the left there, but then ties. 0 PC earnings here in the distance. You don't even know if he's there or not. I can't tell.
I saw it for a split second. Poyo's behind. He's shockwaving as we speak. I see him moving in the mini-map. Good distraction coming out from Peterbot. Good damage as well on ties. And there goes the flank from Poyo, the pincer. They get two different angles. And now with the Mythic AR, they're just going to spray into the box, get the elimination on the ties. But I do like the heads-up play from his duo to shockwave out, realizing I can't be the hero. There's no way he's going to get that revive off in that situation. So he's trying to live to tell the tale. Hopefully get the revive back later on in this game. But it looks like Peterbot and Poyo are going on the hunt.
Yeah, he didn't go far enough. And Peterbot Boyo seemed to have figured out exactly where he might have been positioned up there, trying to hide out. Yamzo and Josh right now moving right through slams and Zifta kind of base there that we saw, that big surge tower here. The terrain's going to play into their favor. They don't get spotted out. They save a lot of material moving through there.
Just as they get towards the edge, you see trying to gain a little bit of elevation here, using the shockwave, not necessarily to cover distance, but so they can quickly rotate up the side of that mountain, box up. You see two other teams already beaten to the punch, building massive surge towers. But Josh and Yamzo, just a simple base. Save a lot of those resources for later, probably when they're going to be a little bit more in need. Taki and Seek over here on this side of the map, rotating in from Riptides. We saw, honestly, Threats and Veer yesterday barely miss out on that consistency through Riptides. And it's one of those POIs to where, just like Wonky Land has the mini game, you got to collect little stakes so that way you can beef up and lift up that weight on the other side, and that's how you can unlock the Mythic. But Peterbot Boyo, the revive, has not come through yet. They're still trying to figure out where that solo's at. He's going to be able to rip for now, but now he leaves himself open to possibly getting taken down. Easy shots for Peterbot and Boyo as they get that second elimination.
Yeah, there it is, picked up there. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we were gonna be jumping into the replay when we saw Peterbot land right on top of him, but hey, he fought long and tried his best. Fortunately, in the end, he does end up falling there. So a couple points now swinging to the hands of Peterbot and Boyo. The first of the game. Noah plays Carbone back in the mix here as well.
Position here. You can see on the mini map kind of what they're fighting for, that mending machine down below, whether they get patch ups, extra resources, depending on which one's there. You can buy splashes, the fizz bomb, and chug jugs, but it does look like they're just going to continue to build up their shield resources. Some extra big pods coming out for Carbone and Noah Plays, and the team right above them, Slam and Zypta, they just kind of ran out. They said, hey, we probably don't have the gold. We just go ahead and rotate in, make it safe now instead of letting this team think we're trying to fight them.
Kiffy, Bayer right now, they're deep in the storm here, but you have Proxy on the other side, so a little bit of a standoff happening here. This team realizing that they are not quite in the position to stay much longer here in the zone, but he does have just the Flowberry Mist to use to heal with. Clock's on a timer right now, right? Things are a little desperate for Faye here if he can't find some heals here quickly. There he goes. Looks like he picked something up.
Probably a floppers, kind of like what it looked like there in that moment. Maybe a slurp fish if we wanted to use it. Jump aboard Joe and Lawrence. This is a team that's escaping a lot what's going on the western side of the map. They land at a split in between Peterbot, Pollo, Clicks, and Higgs. So they're making that right decision to try to rotate quick. A lot of people who game plan those two teams here in this lobby know they like to overstay their welcome inside of the storm. They have the Ferris wheel, they have the rift, so they're one of the few teams that can actually use that as a strategy. Ozone and Golden, as Booga and Craze took the south side of Battlewood Boulevard, Golden and Ozone took the north side. This is where Venom and Curve typically do land, so we might have a possible battle here if we see Golden and Ozone qualify out of Battlewood.
Wait, you mean to tell me this is not Tiger Woods playing Fortnite? What's going on? I like the positioning though. Big metal commitment here, and they're still managed to cap back out, so pretty keen spot to be in right now. Pretty strong base as well. You see, it's just Logan there on the lower left side. He's kind of lurking about. Meanwhile, Higgs, Clicks, utilizing that same strategy we saw before. This one's going to allow them to send themselves flying into any direction that they want. They already have the map marked, so they know exactly where they want to be here.
Just thinking which version. There's two different versions. And right now, they're going to use the basic one right now. And the reason why I talk about two different versions is there's one version here where you combine the actual Fizz with the Shockwave and you do the Ferris wheel, you go up top and glide. But real quick, Noah plays, 6 seconds left. Carbone's already down. Last time we saw them, they were hiding over towards this vending machine, but a whole nother team rotates in. They're trying to steal it away. Carbone goes down, so he's finally taken out. Noah Plays was eliminated as well, but it's a whole nother third party here in the mix trying to attack. That's Kiffy and Faya. They've returned back in this direction to try to take what they hope is theirs, but you can see why that is a prominent focus. They're 12 below the damage threshold. It's not a reason to get desperate right now, Monster, but they realize in the back of their mind, we're 12 below now in the early portions of the game. That's going to get worse if we don't get damage quickly.
Crazy timing too, right? We just saw them rotating on the outskirts, and then, oh my gosh, talk about bad timing. Kiffy's caught off guard. PRX Lice here ends up getting the full finish and an insta down on the him there. And that's what happens if you let your guard down, and I'm sure he's regretting not just splashing and moving in. Meanwhile, Flowberry Mist coming out from Al, just trying to stick around to see if he can pick up the card before rotating out. But also, look at this. The Surge has turned online. They're now even further below because the damage they did to them is essentially negated, right? You can't get yourself eliminated and trade back that damage, not in the new Surge style.
Just tries to go ahead and heal up there, but they returned back to clean that one up. Yeah, that was just a tough situation because not only was he below the damage threshold, it was active Surge. So every 7 seconds, he would take 25 damage from Surge itself, and then 7 seconds from the Storm, so 32 damage every 7 or so seconds. Almost impossible situation to survive. Dozier and Ishu survived their onslaught. Storm Surge affecting them as well, but they're going to be above the damage threshold now that they got those 2 eliminations. And that's sometimes what happens in games like this, where the zone goes from the far north side of the map, a team like Dozier and Ishu, and then just pulls all the way towards the south. You're battling with so many other teams that might not have the damage either.
I was going to say, that was impressive, though. Those were 2 teams that both needed the Surge, and they finish it up so fast that they managed to get out with plenty of extra heals. This is almost a rarity, right? Normally, a team that exits out of the Storm in a situation like this is going to be in full shambles. Even now being held out there, they do have to be careful. They're ticking for 5. I think the lobby, of course, knows that there's going to be some serious danger coming from this team. Keeping a Storm there. Champs and Amen on the side there as well. Late rotates here for a few. And although they have the extras, just talked about it, the Surge turns back on and they find themselves right on that line again.
And since it is active, being below it for even a second will go ahead and strike damage on you, so 12 above. And even though it's not a feeling of confidence, at least it's something. You can take your time, breathe here for a second, and they have an easy rotation towards the west or east of where they're at now. So all these teams here will eventually have to shockwave. You see Quick realize they might be below. Oliver, Carillion, they're going to be below, but they're on the bottom of this zone. They get a couple of shots, and since they are above the damage threshold, even by 3, they're going to try to rotate in and then look back along the way.
That was crazy. It was literally 6 players there that all needed damage, and Oliver OG and Team Carillion knew they had to rotate because the storm's coming in. It's already on a 5-tick, but look, they didn't do enough damage before they left, and at least he gets knocked there, right? There might be a chance. I was gonna say small chance he's at least knocked and not dropped the storm, but spoke a little too soon. Of course, he's gonna get finished there, unfortunately. 200 below now. Heals do get exchanged. Carillion's got to hit the shot of his life here if he wants to stay in the game right now, earn a little bit more. No points earned so far. That's how contentious this round has been here. Carillion's just got a couple more opportunities to do something.
Yeah, he's getting aggressive. He knows the situation he's in. Even though Storm Surge will turn off if it gets below certain players in this zone, it needs to go below 40 overall in the game for it to turn off once and for all. As Taki Seek, they try to dodge the solo down below. They run into a whole nother team right in front. Lucky for them, they were already well above the damage threshold. So big damage like that isn't going to hurt them much, but we go into the next zone, the next Storm Surge threshold, and they drop just a little bit, but at least they're still above.
This Bugha Craze positioned strongly right now, but they will have to rotate. The zone's flying far north, but hey, it's still on the western side, right? This is where the bulk of the players have managed to rotate in through, and Bugha's just trying to strategize the move right now as he's looking out. See all the bases, all the teams stacked up here on this western edge. Craze doing the same strategy. Cone peeking here. Peterbot Boyo still alive, dead center. They're gonna have to move as well.
See them elevated just a little bit. They have options here. Shockwave, actually use the bounce, or just get the effect and try to run their way in. But it is going to be the first of the two. But somebody drops down low in that instant, blocks the Shockwave from actually letting them move on out. And now the zone is creeping in, so they are going to take damage, but Peterbot sees somebody lurking around, tries to go for a shot, but realizes the zone is there as well, so they have to progress forward. Quickly get staggered out just for a moment. Another team rotating by, but yeah, I like how quickly they're not only just boxing up, getting damage, but rotating yet again. They're not afraid to use their resources here because they know they can get an elimination at any moment.
Yeah, and they paired up there, right? Not to burn their shockwaves individually, but as a team instead. Meanwhile, Clicks and Higgs, little deja vu at action here. After, of course, playing for high ground, they found their success. They're trying to get right back to it. I don't think it win this game. I mean, that's just a nice little storybook finish for them, but still a long way from where we are right now to the end. Of course, Peterbot Boyo knows is up there. You can see them already eyeing up that competition here, and I'm surprised Clicks and Higgs haven't quite fired back just yet. Seeing that it's metal builds on second high ground, right? That's an immediate threat for anyone that's on height.
That's actually good. You said it right there. Just have their eyes on anybody that's second height, but out of nowhere, Liquid makes a play. He goes up, takes a huge amount of damage, but at least he has the Flowberry Fizz. He can easily try to drop down low. Clicks and Higgs, they shockwave to the front. They're not ready to give up their high ground just yet, and that's where they're rotating one after the next to make sure they do have each other's back. But again, right below them, Peterbot, Boyo, Josh, and Yamzo. As we jump on board, Bugha on the other side, we have no Craze, and they're below the damage threshold. It's his time to be tested this game.
Yeah, he just went from like prime positioning to worst case scenario. No teammate, and the Surge puts in work onto him. Unfortunately, the pressure's on, but hey, it's all good. We're underneath the 40-player threshold now. He just has to play exceptional Fortnite at this point. See some loot in the background, knows he's got pieces to work with, and there's some extra heals there too. So let's see how much is left here. Oh, he's going for the deep heal off early. I can actually respect this, right? This is for positioning. This is for consistency. Take a look at Peterbot's side, though. Boyo here backing him up. 9 eliminations for that team. Yeah, it might not be looking pretty for the win just yet. However, they are earning so many points right now.
Yeah, and you can even see why Bugha's staggering himself. You don't want to get caught in the madness that is this, but Peterbot Boyo continuously on the hunt, and they're watching out from all angles. Now they're looking up, noticing that Clicks and Higgs are dropping down lower and lower. They get the elimination, but it's neither one of those. It's Joe out of nowhere that cleans that one up, and they just get him a little bit further in this game. You see empty item slots, low on materials. Peterbot Peterbot trying to go for another elimination, but doesn't get that chance. Pollo gets dropped down to just 75 HP. Both of them struggling to try to survive as Peterbot gets taken down. Top 16 situation here, and Pollo's already forced to clutch up.
It was actually Booga in the bottom right screen who takes down Peterbot, who's now taken to the storm. The Siphon's gonna kick in any second now, any chug jugs. Booga is playing this so smart right now, and that's the difference in timing your way from inside the zone late like that. He makes a perfect use of it. Booga now trying to eye up height, trying to figure out the situation, what's going on. Pollo on the other side, just healing, playing the late storm as well, trying to play for positioning. And on high ground, of course, Clix and Higgs, as vulnerable as they are right now, they are pushing for a win here.
And Pollo is just going absolutely massive
Early.
right now. 14 eliminations as a team, 8 by himself. He picked up a couple more. The Siphon match is better than he was before, but now he's becoming the target of the high ground. Clix and Higgs, they're dropping down one at a time. Higgs is trying to play disruptor to take anybody out that's in his path, and that was Pollo that was next, but he lands a huge haymaker, making Higgs think twice about that situation. He's going up. He's going for it all, trying to box onto Clix, pushes him outside of the zone. Higgs is no longer there. Clix waves up. They're battling for the high ground right now, but the third parties come in. Higgs on the high ground as well. This is complete and utter madness in the early portions of Heat 3.
This is perfect, and Higgs making it look personal, right? Making sure he's got Clix's back at the blink of a moment. If he needs it, he's there, and this is what makes Higgs an exceptional teammate. Clix and Higgs now back up with one another here. Pollo forced to low ground. He's got nothing left, but top 5, though, is so impressive. Meanwhile, Josh Iamzo get the gift that they're looking for. They're at 10 eliminations. Clix and Higgs has so much pressure now, all because Pollo ended up pushing them back.
This is a good opportunity for them down below. You got Liam and Chimp as well. Those are our 3 teams, but we also have a solo trying to run wild and pick up at least a top 3 by himself, but he's getting pressured from above, pressured from down below, and now it's all duos left in this situation. 3 final teams. Josh going for an elimination. He gets caught out, stuck for a moment. He goes down. Iamzo's now left by himself in a 1v2 situation. This is the trio from Globals now going at it to see who qualifies for the grand finals. Iamzo goes up, he gets a down onto Higgs. Now it's him versus Clix. 1v1 situation. He traps him in the box. Iamzo is going wild here, and he wins the game. Oh my God!
That could have went either way, but Iamzo with the reaction speed at the end to win, just clutched up. And then they all have so much story implication because they're ex-teammates. There's just too much happening here, Zeke. Game 1, the return back into the Heat here was exceptional.
Yo, what did I just watch? Oh my gosh, that was absolutely insane. I cannot believe. It felt like it really could go with, like, in the way of so many different players there, Kelly. I cannot believe in those moments, Iamzo coming in clutch, bro. Oh, he's got to be over the moon right now.
Listen, I said it at the start of the show. You're like, oh, is Josh and Iamzo have this? Yes, I knew. Iamzo and Josh have proven themselves time and time again this chapter, and seeing how they were able to handle that low ground, especially with all the chaos going on today, Vivid, that is how I want to start Heat 3.
Game 1 might have been worth the wait after watching that one go down. Blink and you might have missed it. Somehow Iamzo finds the edge, right? Finds the high ground over the duo that seemingly had it for the entirety of the end game. But if you took a quick peek at Clix and Higgs' loadout right before when they were on the high ground, they really had nothing to work with. So they had to kind of drop down and take the fight. But Iamzo just found the timing perfectly, and I gotta tell you, we were kind of talking about how we expected Iamzo and Josh to kind of play the low ground, play the mid ground. They did just that perfectly. As you can see, before Iamzo even clutches this moment up, they had 10 total eliminations, and then he just closes it out, picks up a total of 12, and wins the 1v2.
I will say, Zeke, in these moments, it's literally down to 3 final teams, and Iamzo and Josh are still dropping items for each other. They're still communicating and allowing, it seems like they are still playing a completely different game where everyone else is just scrambling, trying to get those elims. They're still just calm and cool and collected, making sure that they are in the prime position that they need to be. That, I love to see it.
Oh my gosh. Shout outs to Zoe. Shout outs to Josh. We'll be seeing you guys next week in the finals, but still 4 more games ahead. And of course, 4 more VRs. And to end in the top 10 means we move on as well. More to unpack after this short break, so don't you go anywhere.
Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Yeah. I'm bouncing back now. Yeah. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. These mountains, I'll toe 'em. Those pebbles, I'll roll 'em. No bridges, I'm claiming peace while you're plateauing. I flag for my city, not really, just kidding. 90 tags they taking from me. This one right here's only for me. My power's so raw, you're living it. I bet you bet on my odds. If I had to fly, slides dissolve the minute I got on my bed. Don't need 2 cents or your consent to give it 100%. Cause I'm a beast, so lower your head. I rise, I set. Say you want it all, if you want it all. Make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, cause I want it all. Don't stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take a step, cause I've been bouncing back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. I keep coming back. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. It's just a mission. I do them in my sleep, no commission. I like a side quest, love opposition. With surgical precision, they make losing their tradition. Yeah, they talk, but what they say to me, I'm chewing it all, it's hitting my jaw, the way that I hear shit thing. I'm building a wall, 90s tall between you and me. I'm out of space, you're out of peace, it's a different game, and I'm out of league. Say you want it all, if you want it all. Make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, cause I want it all. Don't stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take your cap, take a step, cause I've been back. Oh, just like that. I beat you in, crank up back to back. Oh, just like that. I see a dog in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. Now sit and watch me get this gold. Oh, I want it all. I'll bounce back. I just want it all. I just want it all. I'm gon' bounce. I'm gon' bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. Said you want it all. I'll bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. I can have it all. If you knock me down, I will feel the fall. I just got back up. I'll bounce back. I just want it all.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam. I am still shocked at that game. That was incredible. In case you missed it, Josh and Yamzo came out and won game number 1 in a solo clutch situation where Zoe had to pull out the win against Clicks. It was incredible. Again, shout out to them. We'll be seeing them next weekend. But man, so many things happened in that game. Let's start at the beginning. Peterbot and Pollo, right? You know, for a while, we were kind of getting these wide, beautiful shots of the lobby, the chaos, high ground. I'm looking up, I'm like, Clicks and Higgs, yeah. Then we turned into Peterbot. I'm like, hold on a minute. How many elims do they have? What's going on? Why is everybody falling like flies? It was crazy, Kelly.
I mean, I love that, kind of started off a little bit standard, 3 eliminations. By Zone 7 isn't necessarily unheard of. But as the zone started to crawl, you can see we're still in Zone 7, but that is 5 eliminations. Oh, 7 eliminations now. You know what? Let's just make it 12 eliminations. And even when Peterbot goes down, you know that Pollo is here to prove himself time and time again. And he goes on for the aggressive. He goes to try and steal height as a solo player. Vivid. Peterbot and Pollo are here to show everyone that just because this is heats does not mean they're slowing down.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted nothing to do with high ground this game. They wanted to be in the mix of things. They wanted to be box to box with all of the other players, as many as possible. And it was pretty much any single time anybody got even close to their wall, they were just making edits on them. As you can see, after Peterbot went down, Pollo just went on an absolute tear for a little bit of a solo clutch right there. But yeah, when we tuned into them and they had 11 eliminations, 12 eliminations, and both of them were still up, I was like, oh my gosh, Here it is. We're gonna get the 20 elimination game all ready. They were looking so good that game, primed up. I mean, they got to be towards the top of the leaderboard.
They gotta be right. Shout outs to Polo as well. A little solo clutch for us out of game number 1, a top 5 to clutch it up. Ooh, that's what I like to see. Let's also talk about Clicks and Higgs. They were dominating that high ground for so long. And I mean, shout outs to Higgs. So many situations where Clicks is like, I'm gonna get active. Higgs is right there, right, ready to respond, ready to support. I feel like these guys are firing on all cylinders right now.
I mean, yes, both Clicks and Higgs are firing on all cylinders, but I do have to give a special shout out to Higgs, being able to be aware of the high ground, kind of paying attention to if anyone's trying to steal height from you, and then also drop down, get the refreshes, make sure that you guys are topped off. Yes, it inevitably did not go the way that they wanted it to go, but to be able to patrol high ground after such kind of, you know, chaoticness to the start of Heat 3, to be able to keep their cool, be able to kind of keep what they want in sight, in mind, that to me is what takes a pro player and separates them from the rest of the lobby.
I mean, how did we get so many stories in that one end game right there? We got exactly what we wanted, right? Clicks and Higgs defending off Pollo. Pollo almost clipping both of them for the 1v2. And then also Yamzo in the mix, right? Kind of returning to the trio. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I kind of talked about it when we kicked things off here for Heat number 3. I was like, yeah, obviously we know Peterbot and Pollo, they want to go for the high ground. Clicks and Higgs, it looks like they want to as well. And I'm not gonna lie, if I would have to take a guess, who would I thought would have been up on the higher ground, I would have guessed Peterbot and Pollo, but I was surprised to see Clicks and Higgs had it for the entirety of the end game. So shout out to them. Well played end game.
Now, obviously, leading up to those final few moments, right? They did run out of gas, but you know, still they showed up in second place, and we're looking at consistency. That's a great way to start, right? So love to see that from them. I also wanted to highlight this Bugha in a solo clutch situation for quite some time. I mean, this is looking really good. And what's crazy is Bugha was the one that knocked Peterbot, right? So while they're going crazy, he's like, okay, all right, I've had enough. Peterbot, calm down. All right, everybody play out the lobby.
I mean, that means that Bugha is better than Peterbot, right? I mean, if you look at their accolades, if you look at the money earned, I don't know, there's disparities in money. But regardless, Bugha, time and time again, everyone likes it. And I'm going to be very candid with it. People like to always say that Bugha's washed. And then somehow, time and time again, he always proves himself, making it to every FNCF's grand finals, making it to the top 10. He just showcases that regardless of if this is 2019 or 2026, that he is still at the top of the leaderboard.
There was a time where Bugha and Miro were a duo, and I swear I remember watching that FNCS, and it's like the entirety of their points seemingly came from solo clutches. So it's kind of like returning to form, right? You don't really like to see a solo clutch because you're like, oh man, you could have done better if you were a duo, but sometimes that's where Bugha just feels comfortable. So great to see him kind of pick up some points there for the duo.
Oh, man, so exciting. I just cannot believe that was game number 1. Is there anything really quickly you guys are excited to see about game number 2?
Oh, sorry. I was about to say it be played out. Yes, I want to see Clicks and Peterbot go up against each other again.
Yeah, I mean, hey, another great win like that. Some more solo clutches. I feel like we've gotten so many this weekend, and I just can't get enough of them.
Man, oh man. All right, we're just waiting on word here if the game is ready, and then we're going to jump in. Man, this has been absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see more. Can we get that VR out of Clicks and Higgs, right? Can we get that VR out of Peterbot and Pollo? Could Bugha come out, surprise us all with craze, and get one as well? Oh my gosh, so many stories. This heat is absolutely packed. And I can't believe it. 4 more games. Guys, we have 4 more games to go.
That's right. I mean, we've already had 30 teams punch their way into the FNCS Grand Finals. And now we get to add one more to that, 31. We have 14 to go for today. And then, of course, we have the last chance qualifier, Zeke. 5 more teams being able to make their way into the Grand Finals by the last strand of chance. Who's it going to be, Zeke? Well, we got to still figure out who 14 are going to go through today.
Let's find out right now, Kelly. Games are ready. So, casters, take it away.
I spoke too soon yesterday, Jacob. You know, I thought we saw the play of 2026, and then Yamzo shows up, like, give us a second, monster. We got Heat 3 here, and it's getting really exciting now. Let's jump on the bus for game number 2.
I'm not sure what can match that type of height in that last game, but I thought that after Bolts' clutch, I thought that after Veno went crazy, now it's Yamzo's turn, and we still have 14 more teams to qualify to the FNCS Grand Finals here today. But now that Josh and Yamzo have qualified, Frigid Fortress is now up for grabs.
This is not a bad drop by any means, right? It's got everything you quite literally need. And they had the whole drop to themselves, right? You saw it in the last round. I mean, they got super looted, then went for that little bit of middle off to that north outpost, and they were very much set up. I'm curious to see who is going to go ahead and step in and take that drop here now that it's opening up. Jumping in over at the Humble Hills, you can see teams are now just starting to touch base, get situated here in game number 2. Early action happening on the other side though. Kiffy and Feya, this is a fight in the last game. It went quite the distance, deep into the storm and then far north towards the Sandies. So this time we'll see if Proxy and Tenya can put up a better fight, maybe somehow escape the wrath of Feya and Kiffy. They did a relatively good job defending themselves last time, and seems like Feya and Kiffy are a bit passive here.
Yeah, and it looks like history might repeat itself, because remember that last time a third party came in, interrupted the fight, and that's exactly what's happening here. In the minimap, you see a third team rotating in, but Kiffy Feya, they were at least they get one of those 2 eliminations. And Tenya almost fully boxed up. He has one wall, trying to protect himself, and it's not going to work. They break into the box, they get the full wipe, but this is Waffle, this Aiden, they're already here, and they don't want to give them a chance to heal up.
Actually got lucky that Feya wasn't the one tagged there. I don't really know how weak he is just yet. Now, definitely the information's gotten across the table. Oh, no, it's not looking good for Kiffy and Feya. They are both very weak. Aiden owns the wall. Little missed edit there. It's going to lose him a chance to get the quick elims. And now another team's coming in. Depending on how long Kiffy can just play a bit more defense, maybe they can survive, but no. He goes down first. Here comes the new team now, standing right on top of them, and Feya has a little opportunity possibly to escape here. But no, Waffle Joe, Aiden are hot on his heels here. They don't let him escape at all. They get the elimination and the full finish. And look at this. Zifta and Slam, who are just walking on up here. Void watching from distance, listening. We knew that they like to play those huge surge towers, but I mean, you can't resist a good fight either.
I was thinking to myself, wait, I think I've seen this before. They're now the 4th party coming in, and good job for Aiden and Waffle to spot that out after the last second. They were able to build, they box up, just kind of making them rethink that situation. You can see there's a huge chunk of shield missing onto Slam, so you already know they don't have the resources to get that shield back. So we tune in. Carillion's down. Oliver trying to get the revive, and he saves the day. That's one of our contested fights on the north side of the map.
Very good. Right before that, Carillion actually took down Smack there as well. So they seem to be winning their off-spawn contestation very comfortably now for 2 games here. Pewterbot Boyo, huge amount of points earned, clearly coming out of that first the first game there. And I wanted to say, man, it was all Boyo's fault. You know, I know we're giving Yamzo the big clutch, but it's Boyo who put Clicks and Higgs in that shambles position to begin with. He was just playing absurdly well. Look at this.
Didn't thin out the lobby. I wonder if that first time that Peterbot and Poyo fought Logan and his duo down there, maybe they're second guessing it. It might not be worth it. They already have their POI uncontested, and they get the gas station with the slurp truck just outside of it as well. So they have a ton of loot. Just don't need to be greedy in this situation, especially with a big solo clutch by Poyo to kind of keep them in line with a lot of the other teams that are performing well today. Is Taki landing some good damage onto Hazard and Chaotic. Just kind of accumulating that Storm Surge, so that one less thing to have to worry about as the game progresses. But landing over at Riptides, they were able to get that mythic Iron Pump. One of the few weapons in the game right now, Monster, that can one pump anybody, even if they're full health and shield.
Super powerful in the right hands. Taki, obviously a veteran here. Just to add to that Logan, like the Logan Pewterbot dynamic, I think it's the opposite. I think Logan's like, hey, I can't believe we won that. I'm 1-0. Let's just stay away. We know what they're trying to do now, and we managed to survive the storm. So I think they're actually avoiding catastrophe by playing even further out from Pewterbot and Boyo. We'll see if they end up clashing before the day's over. Jumping back with Zune and Noisy, though. We have Noah plays a Carbone just on their defensive stance right now. They're opting to play the low ground. Don't like what I see on the material count for Noah and Carbone. Seems like things are looking a bit rough here for them.
Have to be careful. This is another team just south of Sandy Strip. You can already see it in the mini-map. He's hearing the noise. He's getting a little curious here. Is it something he could land one shot, maybe jump into the box, take advantage? The Carbone and Noah plays playing the low side of this entire fight, boxed up, making sure that they have full control over their pieces. And this is a tough situation for Noah and Carbone. You can see their material count drastically low for being at this point in the game. So the longer they stay here, the less chances they're going to be able to accumulate anything. But I did see it in the feed. Higgs did get a drop onto 1-2 players, Oliver and Carillion. So that game-saving play to start the day might not mean so much with the aggression coming out from Clix and Higgs, but he takes a huge shot, drop down to 60 HP. That's going to allow for Higgs to try to get a little bit of pressure here. Allow for Clix to heal up and not allow for Carillion to do the same.
There's another set of points earned there for Higgs. They're gonna go ahead and dance on Oliver and Carillion there. So they might have won the drop, but unfortunately Clix and Higgs have a strategy of their sleeves to rotate north and take it down. That's going against the Storm as well. Zypta, Void Slam, come on in, and they find themselves that elim that they've been looking for here on the edge. This time, though, it is unfortunately going to be Noah plays in Carbone. And they show up just in time, too, right? Noah and crew had a great amount of heals, as you can see here, but they did not have the material count to really stand things out. Look at how it ends up playing out. They walk right up to the wood walls, catch them completely off guard there, and just make it quick.
Yeah, they weren't even the originators in that fight. That was the team I told you from south of Sandy Strip, hearing the noise, rotated in. They played that lurk perfectly, not to just get one, but both of those eliminations. Even if they don't get a lot of loot, it's the Storm Surge, I think, that's most important for that situation. As Cole and Madden trying to get out of Frigid Fortress. They land just north of the actual POI, east of the mountain where Oliver, OG, and Carillion land as well. It's a little bit of a split drop. They don't necessarily get a chance to get all of their resources, so they kind of stop places along the way to make sure they have the max maxed up for the end game.
See how it's going to be looking now. So we're jumping on over with Booga. We'll update with Craze here. Just playing a bit of a cheeky spot. You could call this a little lurk, if you will. To see if anyone's going to be walking by. Yep, they find Ties here in his duo. Couple tags set them up, but no knocks. Nothing fancy to really give them the reason to push here just yet. Time to rotate out.
I was gonna see, great play for them. Again, Booga crazed. They got a good feeling of how each other wants to play. They just kind of position towards the bush for Booga. They're not necessarily trying to all out 50-50 fight, get eliminations here. He's just trying to build up the Storm Surge so that way he can make the rotations he does. Booga's one of those players, as he IGLs, he likes to make far and slow rotations and get in on dead side of the zone overall. And right now, with the zone pulling towards the west, he's staying towards south of Battlewood. He might be trying to do that same thing here.
You saw what Booga does in the end game. This is really where he starts to shine. You know, he's not a flashy mid or early game player. He tends to pace himself very well, but end game, the tarping, the fighting, right? Like the game sense really kicks in. You can see that experience start to shine through. Taki and Void continuing to have their strong performance. See what they can make happen here. A little update with their loadout situation. I mean, you talked about that Mythic Shock, and it's looking very, very good for them right now. And they're just turning this whole entire building inside out, so they'll have plenty to work with, especially if the zone ends up continuing to pull this way.
And I know most people might already know, but at Riptides is one of the only places you can actually get that Mythic Shotgun. Just like Wonky Land has its little mini game, there's like a wait at Riptides that takes a long time to lift up if you're just going straight for it. But there are 6 different stakes around the POI. If you eat at least 3 of those, it'll make it to reduce that time so you can almost open it up like a chest. It's not a guaranteed Mythic Iron Pump, but it's definitely high chances. And so far, 2 for 2 games, they were able to get it.
Yeah, I remember when this season dropped and I saw a clip of someone trying to lift that or like play that mini game. I was like, what is going on? This is Fortnite. Like, for real. Look at that Ozone. Golden here. It's a little bit of high ground over Craze and Booga. Pop shots going out, but Booga and Craze, again, playing for that dead side rotate. You can see there's really not too much resistance on the western side at the moment. A couple teams are on their heels, but Freeze just waiting for an opportunity to do something here.
50 damage just like that from Paper and Rezi. It's going to connect. Just kind of caught out. We're going over towards Humble Hills. So where Paper and Rezi are now and where they have to go, you see there's different elevation changes, and they have to go directly into a team that's positioned on the mountain. Towards their west, you see Booga and Craze, and they're kind of just trapped in the middle. We saw Paper before the rotation take 50 damage. There goes Rezi taking over 100 damage. So this is putting Paper and Rezi in a position to where they might have to fight later on in this game, or maybe even right now, depending on what they're at in Storm Surge.
Continue to take their time. Clean rotates here all through the valley. On the other side, though, take a look at the fight going down right now. We already knew the warnings were coming out. It's going to force players to battle, but the Vade and Wave, man, having quite the tough game, too. They're 160 below, 81 players standing, so quite a fair stretch before the Surge is going to turn off here.
Not going to be easy at all. Again, they're just rotating in the direction of where all players are already positioned on different mountain ranges. Even if they're not on an actual mountain range, they got a surge base, so not going to be very easy to rotate in, especially if you don't actually do have the shockwaves. For Clicks and Higgs, you see the zone pulling on over towards the western side of the map. We saw early rotations in game number 1. In game number 2, they're sticking to their strategy over here at Wonky Land. They go ahead and build up on that Ferris wheel. And I talked about 2 different rotations, and already you see they're building up towards the top of Wonky Land. This is where you can glide in, use the different effects with the fizz, with the actual shockwave as well. There's another one, a secret one, where if you use that full combination and you go through the Ferris wheel, that launches you so far, and if you can combine that with the different rifts that are on the map with low gravity, it extends how far you can actually go. You can almost cover the whole distance of a map in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, definitely one of the stronger strategies that are available right now, and that's what makes Wonky such a powerful drop, right? And in the hands of Clicks and Higgs, we'll surely see it before the finals is up. For now, they've earned a lot of points in that game 1, right? So, like, one more end game like that, and regardless if you get the dub or not, I think they'll be just fine. Seem to be playing exceptionally well. Think about Chimpy and Liam here.
I think they did pretty well in terms of Storm Surge in that last game. It's just right now 21 above. They realize they can be comfortable here, position themselves where they need to be, but in the back of their mind, whether if it's this zone or the next, they need to start getting damage because they eventually will fall under the damage threshold if they sit where they're at now. Could be similar for Lawrence and Joe, 231, but they position themselves on the edge, so any team rotating in from either Wonky Land, Scribbly Shores, maybe a little bit towards the south, it's going to give them ample opportunities like this, a little bit of a wide edit, so they have a clear view on players trying to use shockwaves to get in.
Comes to the other side, though. Look at this. Crazy and Booga finding their little position in the action here. He's going to go ahead and take a couple of those slices of pizza, get his HP right back up and into the mix. And there's some options of loot to pick from here, but the fact that they're not pouncing at the opportunities is showing us that they're being very cautious, and they really are concerned with the Storm Surge right now. They've done just enough to stay in the game here. Talk about those smart rotates, trying to play dead side, and it all pays off right here as the zone ends up landing right on top of them. Here comes the reinitiation. This is a very smart fight, right? Not waiting for the Surge to kind of give them the warning, but instead knowing that, hey, there's definitely danger nearby. The rest of the lobby recognizes what's happening too. A bit of pressure coming from different angles here, so they kind of ease up right now, but they will have to find some fights here shortly.
Yeah, and depending on how much damage they took from that double lobby spray, they might have to fight the next best team, which would be Booga and Craze. Enpin and Jack off was suffering the Storm Surge, but only 5 below the damage threshold. This is where you're kind of threading the needle here. Do you go for a big play, a shotgun shot in the box, or you just try to stay far away? But at this point in time, everybody is rotating, and even if you find yourself above like they are now, they have to rotate too. So it's only going to get harder and more dangerous as they continue to push forward on this next rotation. And timing is definitely of the essence because they are in a current active 5-tick zone.
Yeah, and you can see that although they went through Dark Dominion for that extra loot, it was going to be their biggest mistake as the zone pulls back across it. Peterbot, meanwhile, just doing what he does, man. Finding the important eliminations at the end tail end, I would say, of the mid game, early end game now, and that's going to really reward them with the maps that they're going to need to play well here. Clicks Higgs already positioning up in metal. This is a sign that they're looking to base down and stay completely out of sight for a little bit here. Look at that, 550 above. They're playing very, very well. And again, from one highlight to another, Jacob, Peterbot continues to do what he does here. Fullberry Mist is going to keep him alive. Storm does the rest for him. And I mean, they already were 5-5-5 cap, and then they get the follow-up finish there, and they're just sitting on an abundance of loot there.
Yeah, just got to be careful there because they did a good job of getting the Elim, but they traded shots. They only went 40 up in terms of Storm Surge. We jump on board Moxie along with Wolf, just trying to survive the lobby spray. 280 below the damage threshold. Shots pouring in from all directions, but they have to start to get active. They don't really have resources to heal this. They almost need 2 full eliminations worth of damage. That's why they have to be persistent with the pressure on Nicole and Madden. But somebody just jumps up out of nowhere. Moxie lands the shot, but Wolf does go down, realizing you have to get more damage. Can't be the hero, can't go for the revive. Looking for whoever that was down below. Now Surge is activating, trying to take advantage of the actual shield, but just seconds too late, trying to get the box. Moxie and Wolf will fall.
So close right there to actually turning that one around, but that low ground shot was a huge surprise and just put her teammate down, unfortunately. Look at this though, Peterbot playing the late storm rotate as well. Bluga goes for the early one here. He's gonna get front side of the beginning of the safe zone here. Craze is here to back him out. They're already through most of their heavy material though. This is quite a situation right now.
Don't even necessarily need it. They already have the 2 eliminations. They're well above the damage threshold. But when opportunities like that come by, you don't let them slip through your fingers. Just accumulating more Surge, more points for the actual eliminations. But Peterbot and Poyo, 3 eliminations onto Peterbot, but we know how he's getting those eliminations. He's trading big damage, so he's not necessarily going up the Storm Surge leaderboard overall. But a quick lobby spray in that direction. They're able to get 20 more damage to their totals, but they still have a long way to go and a rotation to make that's going to make it difficult.
Higgs is by himself right now, so actually lost clicks on that rotate even after getting an elimination there. That was only a 3rd Elim here in the game, so clicks now just has to watch here in front of sideline. Higgs goes all in on this player here, and look at the speed of which he was about to actually find that elimination, but that player just barely slips away. The Storm though is on the edge. There's the finish. I think he even had a little bit of surge pressure there too, so Higgs just recognizing that that was an Elim waiting to get picked up. Well played for him. Meanwhile, breaks out the outside now, and here he goes to the new zone. We've seen Higgs every highlight now just playing the mist kind of effect into a shockwave here. There's just so much happening here in this endgame.
Yeah, just trying to get to the front side of the zone as solos is a necessity. As King and Aviv finding crucial eliminations here. You can see King from 20 builds to 60. He just got stacked off of that elimination, plus the heals that they're able to get. And for Aviv and King, remember, they won 2 different games in one of the eval finals, and I'm the guy that's thinking, what have you done for me lately? So hopefully they continue that hot streak here today. Taki and Seek trying to break into the box. That team's going to go ahead and disengage on out, giving priority on this rotation to Taki and Seek as they make their way towards the front. High ground early on, Muss and his duo up above, and this is where we're going over mountains. Some recycled build sponsor, so it's not going to be easy opportunities for them to get elims.
Yeah, talk about light builds though. Look at this, Booga, Craze already running out. They're forced to kind of play this mid-ground layer. They're just trying to rat across, right? Break into enemy builds, see if they can find someone waiting there, but no, Booga actually gets caught off. Meanwhile, Higgs is playing the Storm right now. They get spotted out. Higgs is using that effective bounce all the way out and around, and this is something you rarely see a rotate like that, but Higgs is just so smart at reading the Storm right there. Excellent map knowledge, excellent awareness of the builds that are available as well, and the ability to play around it, and this is why he's clutching up points right now.
Yeah, Praise was trying to do the same thing. Got a couple of extra placements, but wasn't able to pull it very far. So now it's really up to Higgs. And this is something, when they first formed, Clicks and Higgs were looking good. They went through a little bit of a drought where they were forced to solo clutch each of them. And I think Higgs is one of the guys that can pull up a lot of points by himself. Peterbot and Pollo using the shockwave merely for the effect. He's trying to get towards the front. High ground has to dip down. You got to wonder what their build is. Lightus Higgs picks up another elimination here, finding some struggles, actually picking it up, but he hits another haymaker, but eventually he gets flanked, taken down, sent back to the lobby.
Peterbot and Pollo actually found 2 as well, and Pollo goes into the storm, trying to bring back some heals, but unfortunately couldn't find enough there. So Peterbot desperately low right now, still fighting on the edge. Meanwhile, you have Golden and Ulzone, 5 Elans right now, cooking up in the mid layer as well. There's a lot happening on the low ground though. Everyone I see down there is just in shambles here. And we'll see as it plays over this water terrain. This is only gonna get more and more difficult here. No one is looking really healthy at this given time. This is gonna just be a full-on blender fest coming up.
Yeah, nobody's really solidified themselves as the high ground.
Pollo.
That one got chopped down. Pollo does it again. I'm already getting that feeling of deja vu, but that one shortly ended. Must returns